All right, Kim, I'm so excited that you finally got on here with me. We've been trying to organize this for a really long time. So, uh, welcome. I'm super
Thank you.
hyped to just like chat about your story, talk about your business, just kind of talk about your journey.
Okay.
But I do want to start off because I think you have had like something super exciting happen recently. You hit like one of your major 6-week game plan goals, right? And
Yeah.
one of the cool things we do is like set wagers. If we hit the goal, this is what we're going to reward ourselves with, and if we don't, this is like what we're going to do instead.
Yes.
So why don't we start there? Like, tell us what happened and what was kind of the reward that you got to do, because I think that's super exciting. It was super cool.
Okay. Well, first off, you make us do this thing called a 6-week game plan, which basically forces us to kind of not only look at numbers, but really just kind of bet on yourself, right? So back in April, we had a session, and it was basically going to be like the session for April/May was the 6-week session.
Yep.
And we were just thrilled if we were going to hit 15K revenue. Okay. Just 15K. I was like, I think we can do this. And for us, being such a small business in kind of this big world of home remodeling in Kansas City, that was a lot for us. So we were just like, okay, I think we can do this. We're going to push and try. About 2 weeks after that happened, on Easter, Bill fell down the stairs and broke his arm.
This is your husband.
Yes, he fell down the stairs, broke his arm, bad. Like, it was bad. Needed surgery, completely took him out. So everything came to a screeching halt. We did have a few consultations on the books, but as far as project work, I mean, we had projects going, but nothing like super major. So for him, even in the midst of all the pain, panic did set in. And I kind of instantly went into, okay, first we got to fix you, because without you, we don't have a business, because he does, 80 to 90% of the actual physical labor, and I do more of the behind the scenes stuff. So we kind of just tried to navigate that. It basically took him out for 4 weeks of not being able to do anything, not being able to lift a pen, not being able to, really, certainly not work. And fortunately, we had a lot of friends and other subs and contractors step in and help us out as far as finishing the projects to take care of the clients. The sucky part about that is now we have to pay them, which we hadn't really budgeted for, broken arm. Anyways, so 4 weeks comes up. At this point, Bill can actually start making his way towards consultations and get estimates and stuff. And we started utilizing things like notes and apps and stuff just to get estimates and everything done, like major pivot on how we were doing things. So we had like literally the last 2 weeks of May, and I just pretty much was like, we're not going to make that goal. I'm going to have to do yoga for like the next 6 weeks, which is, I loathe yoga. So that was my punishment if we didn't make the revenue goal. Well, anyway, so last 2 weeks of May come, Bill and I are like more in panic mode and also super focused. And not only did we hit the 15K revenue, we doubled it in 2 weeks.
Insane.
In 2 weeks.
15K created in 2 weeks.
Yeah. And
30K in 2 weeks.
Doubled
it, right?
Yeah, because prior to the broken arm, we were probably sitting at 2K, maybe.
Wild.
2, maybe 3 if I stretched it a little, So that was kind of the impetus for us to go, oh shit, we can really do this. And so that ended May. I remember messaging you like, this is seriously what happened. And that was like gas on the fire. And so for June, we hit that same goal like 2 months in a row. And by this point, we had started to, get a better feel of how we worked with one another in this business, because it didn't always start that way. Actually, in fact, like the first year and a half-ish, almost 2 years of the business, I wasn't really involved. And kind of by choice, because I have a super busy life. I have 10 million other jobs. And it just was not something that, I mean, I believed in Bill's skill and ability. 1,000% I did. But I also was like, I've never run a business before. I don't really have anything to do with this. I might just post occasionally on Facebook about it, but I was generally not involved. So anyways, June, killer month. July, another killer month. So like 3 months in a row, we essentially hit our revenue goal, if not exceeded it. I haven't actually looked at what our revenue goal was for August yet, but but I mean, I think the biggest thing for us kind of at first was like, oh my God, we're seeing all of this money coming in, and understanding that yes, the money is coming in, but we also have to pay it out, but it's coming in, like we see it happening. And so for us, that's like, okay, we can do this, game on, focused. Yeah, then August hit,
So
and
what did you do to celebrate? Tell us what you did to celebrate.
Okay, so because I hit that April and May 6-week game plan goal, we booked a cabin in North Arkansas. We're in Kansas City, Missouri. So we booked a cabin in a long weekend, so a Thursday through Monday in Arkansas, paid for it in cash, drove down there, no internet. It was fantastic. No internet. You know, we were near Eureka Springs, which is like a small little quaint town. I mean, ate all the good food, hung out, did nothing. It was absolutely freaking fantastic. Like, for frame of reference, the cabin, we had trees that kind of went up and over. So even though it was like 97 degrees outside, if you walked outside and looked up, you were completely shaded.
Oh, that's so cool. Sounds so definitely sounds relaxing, which is
it was. It took us a minute to kind of adjust to the no internet, though. That was weird. That was very odd, because we didn't know where we were going, and so you don't realize how much you depend on your phone for like directions.
Yeah, it's not 1990 anymore with paper maps.
Right. So yeah, so we had an incredible weekend. We both felt great about it, because we felt like we really did earn that. Right.
It was a good celebration.
Yeah.
All the hard work and finally getting the reward, and then actually getting to like use that reward for a reward, right? Like you can actually see the direct work and then be able to celebrate it, just the two of you. I love that so much for you guys. I'm definitely going to dig into like the path, because your guys' journey has been unreal. Let me just like start from the beginning. Like let's talk about, what do you do? What are the types of people that you work with? Just tell us a little bit about the semantics of the business.
Okay. We are a home repair and remodeling business in the Kansas City area. We help literally busy people that don't have 40, 50, 60K to spend on remodeling, that a lot of the bigger companies just don't want to deal with, right? So these are people that they want good quality home remodeling, but don't necessarily have a shit ton of money to spend on it, but they do have money to spend. So we capitalize on that. It was actually Bill's brainchild. He used to work for Jericho Home Improvements, which is one of the biggest home remodeling companies in the Midwest. It is phenomenal. Like, they were an amazing company. He had nothing bad to say about them. But at some point, he was like, I really kind of want to do this on my own. I just want to step away. And I was like, cool, great. I work for a hospital. I teach dance. You do you. Have at it. And so in 2023, he decided to step out and do this. No real plan. No, it was just kind of like he left Jericho on amazing terms and just kind of started doing this. Again, I wasn't really involved. Outside of the fact that my name was on the company for non-compete reasons. So we just kind of went through 2023, made our way through things, blah, blah, blah. And then 2024 hit, and I had to do the taxes for the business for 2023. And I went completely overwhelmed. I was completely overwhelmed. I didn't really understand what was happening. I was getting stressed out. So I was like, nah, I'm out. I don't want to do this. And I literally left Bill hanging. And I feel terrible about it now, but I think at the time is what I needed to do to kind of save my sanity. Because again, not being terribly involved in it, I was trying to put the pieces together of what was happening without knowing what was happening. And that was, roughly March, April of 2024, and I walked away. And
I think that's a common, me too. Like I got into my first business of just like, I want to do this thing because I like this thing, but I don't actually know how to run a business. And that is probably like that underlying storyline exists in probably every entrepreneur to some degree, some extent, So no surprise that he had that feeling too. So let's talk a little bit about
But he didn't. Okay. So I walked away. Bill did not. Bill was very adamant about, no, this is my business. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to fight for it. So he was still trying to take in jobs and still trying to do the work, but there was no marketing happening. There was no accounting happening. There was no billing. Like the billing was all over the place. It was just a complete mess. Not because he was lazy. He wasn't lazy. He just couldn't be in 15 places at once. And I don't fault him for that. And was he mad at me? Yeah. He was pissed that I walked away. And I was kind of like, after maybe 2 or 3 months, and the money was very, very up and down, probably more down than up, I finally hit a wall, and I was like, okay, you can't continue to operate this way, because you're not making any money. You're not getting any benefit out of this, and you're basically running yourself ragged. And so around September-ish, my gym coach, Travis, who posted a photo of you and him and told this story about how you helped him kind of get his priorities aligned and get his gym turned around. So I approached Travis and I was like, well, pretty sure she works with just gyms, but do you know if she works with small businesses, other small businesses, or if it's just strictly gyms? And he was like, I don't know, here's her info. So Travis pretty much kind of sent me your way. And I really kind of went into it thinking, well, if you don't do this, then you probably know somebody else that does, that could kind of steer us, right? So I basically gave Bill the ultimatum of, if we don't get help on how to properly run this business, we are going to fail. And for me, personally, I was like, I have worked entirely too hard in my entire life, my professional life, to build everything that I have currently, to lose it over this business. I was not going to let that happen at all. And so he was like, well, since you put it that way, okay.
Sometimes we just need that person to be like the one that totally sobers the situation for us, right? Especially, him, a little bit of rose-colored glasses of just like innocence, right? Of like, you kind of know what's going on, but you're not willing to face it. I was in that position too. Again, most entrepreneurs have that same storyline too. You understand it's bad, like you know that it's bad, but you're just not willing to face it head on. So he's actually pretty lucky that he had somebody who could just step in front of him and just sober the situation.
So it was
like at rock bottom, I guess, for lack of better words, right? And
it was
make this.
You
make this decision that help is the way. So
but I was terrified to death to talk to you. I was terrified to talk to you. I was terrified to talk to you.
Why? What is weird?
I think more of just kind of embarrassed, because I was like, I'm a freaking scientist. I teach dance. I work with kids. I know how to talk to people. Why is this hard for me? Why is this hard for us? Like, I did not, like, that was sobering for me to go, oh shit, there's something I'm not good at. And that was a hard pill to swallow. And so when I first talked to you and kind of explained, like, hey, this is where we are, I'm like, she is going to kick us to the curb and think, I'm not working with these people. They have zero clue what they're doing, and I'm not going to waste my time. I really felt that way, that you were just going to be like, nah, I don't want to be bothered. And so I was kind of bracing myself for that. And then Bill was completely skeptical, absolutely skeptical of you out the gate. And, you know, which ironically, one of his concerns was, you know, the cost of getting mentorship. And I was like, yeah, well, the cost of not having it right now is way worse. And
that's
so he kind of
very valid point, right? Like, I
yeah.
think a lot of people get sticker shock, or they just, the fear overtakes the, like, what could potentially be the good of it, right? And you just let the fear make that decision for you, then rather understanding that you actually will lose a lot more if you don't get that help. And so, but we can't equate what that value is. All we see is the number in front of us, and we just use that as our decision maker instead of looking at what is the actual percent, like, amount that I stand to lose if I don't change the scenario. Great point. I think we need to evaluate decisions more like that more often.
I was
okay.
So we bit the bullet. We bit the bullet like mid-October. Huh?
We make this decision to work together.
Yeah.
What were some of your thoughts just about the early stages of our mentorship journey together?
I was I treated it like school. I treated it like a college course, and it's been a long time since I've been in college. So for me, I was kind of like, okay, well, if we're spending this money, then I'm all in, even if it sucks, even if it hurts, even if I'm lost. Because I'm sure you remember early on, I asked a lot of questions because
most do.
because I was just like, I don't understand. And it was a lot of basic principles that I just didn't understand. But I was also willing to go, okay, I've seen the other side of what you do because of Travis, right? I've known Travis for like going on 10 years now. So I've seen the other side of that. So for me, it was letting the grip go and trusting the process. And that meant, okay, well, now I got to face my numbers. Okay, now I got to face all this shit that's not working. And
there's really three things that you get challenged on in the very beginning. You get challenged on your ignorance, you get challenged on your skill set, and you get challenged on your beliefs, right? Like the ignorance gap that exists of what you might have tried in the past and didn't work, or the gap between just the things that you don't know.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Right? And once you kind of start to fill that ignorance gap a little bit, then you start to get challenged on your skill set. You're learning all these new things. You've got habits and routines that have to go with them. So it kind of feels like your world is upside down while you're trying to learn all these new skills. And then finally you get challenged on your belief of just like, can I actually do this? This feels really hard. How do I get through this? This is really overwhelming. Like, and then all of a sudden you see the growth, these 30K in 2 weeks, and your belief challenge becomes, holy shit, like, am I worthy of this? You know, when you get
can I do it again?
Exactly.
I mean, I can't tell you how many weeks can I do it again? Like, it's that fear is always back here, you know? But it's also, that fear is also my motivation too, to not let things slide, not let things go, you know? And if in the challenging months, I mean, say like August, for instance, where was getting hit left and right with a lot of personal things, you know, kind of giving yourself a little bit of grace and going, what can I do? Not, okay, well, this is happening over here, so I'm just not going to touch this. I may not have hit things as intensely as I did in July just because of personal things, but I didn't let it go. there were certain steps and certain things every single day that I still did, even if I was just up to my eyeballs in stress. I still managed to kind of take 5, 10, 20 minutes or whatever and get those things knocked out.
So let's go down that road. Why don't you tell us some of the very specific things that you implemented into the business, maybe in the early stages or as you started to get your bearings going? What were some of the like strategies or particular things that really started to get the business moving that you and I installed in the business?
Okay. Well, one of the most important things was a budget.
Just understanding money. Yeah.
Yeah. Understanding money, understanding how it worked, understanding the terminology. I mean, I really I had a good grasp of budgeting and money when it comes to my personal stuff, but not necessarily when it came to business type things. And that was something, and I still am asking a million questions and still trying to work my way through it. But it's making so much more sense now. And knowing that having that kind of directs your business, right? So I'm in.
How we make decisions off numbers rather than feelings or what we think is going on. Yeah.
But one of the things that I struggle with is, okay, so I'm in the background, I'm pulling numbers, I'm doing budgets, I'm doing profit sheets, I'm doing all of this stuff, and I'm having to talk to it with Bill, and I feel incredibly guilty. Like, I feel like the bad guy whenever I have to say, okay, well, we got to cut this back, or we got to do this. And I know it's something I have to get over, but I'm also like, you were saying about the rose-colored glasses with Bill, I think sometimes because he's not dealing with that necessarily on a week-to-week basis, and I am, he doesn't really see it, and he's just thinking, but we brought in X amount of dollars this month. I'm like, yes, but we also had to pay these people and also had to do this and also had to cover materials, and, you know, so there's definitely a level of guilt on delivering bad news, I guess, if you want to call it bad news. Yeah. So that's something that I'm still kind of like working on for me, is just kind of making it neutral. And I'm not there yet, you know. So sometimes I'm doing numbers and it's a lot of anxiety for me because I can't necessarily look at it from a neutral position.
Right. And that's just where you guys are right now in the position in your business. And, you know, the focus has simply been, we just need to get money coming into the company, and we need to build the marketing flywheel a little bit so that there is continuous money coming in. Because when you first started, like we talked about, it was unprofitable and you had an empty calendar for all months ahead. So before we could even get to a position of talking about how you and Bill communicate with each other, like we just had to build the framework of like, how do we actually get money coming into the business? So maybe what are like one or two pivotal things skills, strategies that we've implemented inside the business that has really contributed to the change of the growth of the company?
Strategic posting on social media. I was not, that's been kind of a very big thing for us. I'm very comfortable talking to people. I'm not a shy person, but posting on social media was not something that I just generally did. I might have checked my Facebook once a week or so. I really never checked my Instagram. So getting to a place where, you know, starting with 2 or 3 posts a week and then moving up to, okay, now I'm posting 5 days a week. So now I post almost every single day, and changing my mindset around that, as opposed of not necessarily being vain in my life, but using it as a tool for business, using it as my storefront, using it as a gateway to bring people into my world and let them see, we're business owners, but it's not always about the business, but look and understand what our purpose is here. Like, why we have the business is because of all of these other things. And I think that has really resonated with people. And it started with, you know, obviously friends and family, like especially close friends and family. Those were like our first customers. And we've done work for people I haven't seen since elementary school, middle school, through Facebook, that reached out. I haven't talked to these people. They reached out because they're like, oh, we see that you're doing this. Again, haven't talked to these people at all, you know? So that's been.
But having that strategy and that intention specifically puts you front, mind, and center for these people, especially when it's continuous and it's compounding over time. The next time they think that they have a project they want to do, you're the first person that comes to mind, simply because you had strategy and intention behind what you were doing. And again, like the often mistake I see here is people come in and they're just, if they are posting on their socials, they're just throwing things up just to get the green check mark for the day, with like not really knowing if it works or how it is supposed to work, right? So that has been a very visible transformation that, like, just as someone on the outside, has been really cool to watch, and then to see on the inside the direct correlation to the increase in the revenue that you've had coming through the business, something as arguably as small as that. Is there maybe one other thing that you implemented that contributed to the quick growth?
Oh, there's lots of things. But I think one of the biggest things, and this was early on, you had us sit down and kind of go, okay, what are your roles here? Like, what are the two of you doing? Like, who's supposed to be doing what? And that was something that wasn't really defined prior to you, honestly. And so we were like, okay, we literally sat down with, what are Kim's skill sets? What are Bill's skill sets? And the problem was, we did not have a bridge to gap the two. I mean, sorry, you know what I mean? A way to bridge the gap. And so we sat down and was like, okay, I'm good at these things. Bill is good at these things. How do we get what I'm doing to get Bill in the door of these people's homes? Because we are not an online business per se. Like, we can't, like, we don't really sell anything online. Everything we do, we have to be in people's homes. So how do we get Bill into people's homes to start the sales process? And so that's where things like the sell by chat came into play. That's where I would reach out and be like, hey, thanks for the love on the post, blah, blah, blah. And then that would start a conversation. You know, even as something as simple as, like, once we got our website, which we had put off for almost 2 years because we were afraid we could not afford it. So once we got that, I mean, one of the things that's been helpful is like, hey, you can call and text, or if it's easier, set an appointment through the website. And that has just been, like, totally working in our favor, because people, you know, don't, surprisingly, I don't know, maybe because I'm not this way, don't like to talk on the phone. And I do. I'm comfortable with it, but there's a lot of people that they don't want to be bothered with waiting for Bill to text because he's on a job, or waiting for me to get back because I do have a day job. You know, they're like, oh, there's a website. Go.
It makes sense because your audience is busy adults, busy families, right?
Yes,
so they just
absolutely.
To enter into your sales process. This I see so much. People, business owners, come into the ecosystem, and it either is non-existent, which is kind of where you guys were, or they have it, but it's convoluted as all hell, and so they don't understand how the sales pipeline works, and then therefore it's super complicated for the prospect to understand how the sales process works and, like, where they go, how they advance to the next step. So yeah, like, just being able to you're putting all this front end work into your socials, which creates the intention and the engagement, and being able to take that attention and then put them in a container or put them in a place where we can advance them to the next step to get Bill in the house to start that whole sales process. Just being able to streamline that and it up alone was enough to add so many consultations to your calendar that weren't there before. Like, I remember you texting me the day the website went up that people were booking in for consultations, like, almost immediately, and it continued on through the weekend. Like, that's really exciting for what is like a trivial step, you know, but just maybe having somebody there to say, hey, go do this. Like, we need this pipeline built. Like, you need a place for these people to go. Made that happen a little faster.
One of the things that you told me early on was, like, our very first meeting, you said, okay, well, you asked us, how many leads are you getting in a month? And I'm like, I don't know. And Bill's like, I don't know, maybe like 2. And I was like, are we even getting 2? And you told me, okay, our goal is to get 1 lead a day. 1 lead a day. And I tucked that away in my back pocket ever since. And that has always been my goal. If I can just get 1 lead a day, and some weeks we've had 9, 10 consultations, and some weeks we've had like 1 or 2, but the average being we're almost 2, if not there already, 1 lead a week or 1 lead a day. And that's been like insane to see, because recently I sent you a copy of our November calendar from 2024, and we had literally 1 consultation, 1 appointment on that calendar, and we did 19 this month.
That is so awesome. So awesome.
This month. And you know, it's wild to see. It's still, again, there's that level of fear, like, can I continue to do this? But I'm trusting that if I still do the things that I need to do on a day-to-day.
There's so much runway in front of you.
Yeah.
So much runway.
Yeah.
You've had such great growth. So let me put you on the stage here. Okay.
Okay.
Give me your like top 2 proudest achievements you guys have hit since our time working together.
Our very first 30K revenue month was like,
yeah.
and doing it in 2 weeks was probably top for me, because I'm pretty sure I was stunned when I pulled the numbers and recalculated at least 3 or 4 times before I even sent it to you, because I didn't believe it. So that's probably the proudest moment as far as like from a businessy standpoint. From an everything else standpoint, I feel like Bill and I are working together.
Oh, that's such a good feeling for you guys.
As opposed to opposition. And not to say that there aren't moments of opposition, because there are, because we are clearly 2 different people, but we both know what the goals are. We both know what the plan is. You know, if one of us messes up, okay, well, let's see how we fix it. You know, it's never an attack on one another, which I kind of felt like was that way before. And probably,
there's
honestly,
clarity and communication pathways between you guys now, and clear roles established for each of you, which keeps you out of each other's hair, and the people doing what they're best at. That's kind of important too. That truly was a mess when we first spoke. So, you know, the money is awesome.
Yeah.
The money is awesome, but like we run our businesses for such bigger reasons and bigger purposes. And to have that bit of a friction point that existed there when we first spoke, to not be there as much, if at all, anymore, like that's massive, because the compounding effects of that, like outside of just how you guys interact from a business purpose, is insurmountable, right? Like that's huge. So I think like that is an awesome win. I'm so glad you brought that up, because that real life stuff is so much more important. The money, the trips, whatever, like, yeah, that's great. It's important to you. It has its place. Like the real life stuff, the bigger picture stuff, those are the good wins. Oh, I'm happy for you guys. So happy.
So yeah, we're us. We just do what we do. And it's been a lot. Like I said, I mean, it's not completely gone, but it's definitely easier to talk about. Like if we run into a snag, you know, and part of it too, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, is that little bit of guilt on my part, because I don't ever want to feel like I'm nagging or I'm bitching about something when I present numbers or whatever, but I still do, and he still receives it, and we still talk through it, which was not happening before. It wasn't. It was kind of like, you know, why is there no money in the account, or why is there only this much money in the account? And he was like, what do you mean? I brought in blah, 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 blah. I'm like, did you though? Did you? You know? So that has definitely changed. It's changed the dynamic of how he and I run this business together. I feel like we are more of a team, and it's not a me versus him kind of thing, or even, you know, I don't even have to do, get this, like, I don't even have to go, well, Taryn says we should do X, Y, and Z. You know, I don't have to do that, right? I don't have to necessarily present that. I just do what I do on my side with your help. And then I'm like, okay, this is what I think, this is what works for us. And he's just like, okay. And he'll go, why? Why do you feel that way? And I explain it, and he'll be like, okay, let's do it. I mean, that's literally the extent of conversations a lot of times, which, again, was not happening like that before. So I think he's taking, he doesn't take what I have to say as offense anymore. And I think at first he was. I think when we started, he was. Because he has run a business in the past when he lived in New York. The difference was all of the systems were already in place. He inherited a business where everything was already set up and you just run it. Not starting from the ground up here where we literally didn't have anything. I remember having to buy accounting software and going, I don't know what accounting software I need to buy. You
guys have come so far.
Good.
Let me. I got one more question for you.
Okay.
If somebody was in your shoes, on the fence, scared to talk, scared to ask for help, if they were feeling the way that you vividly described how you were feeling that day, what's your piece of advice for that person about asking for help, asking for mentorship, maybe working with us? It doesn't have to be us, just seeking help to get their business in order. What's the one thing you're going to tell them?
What is peace of mind worth to you?
Ooh.
That was a big driver for me. What is peace of mind worth to you? Is spending the money, are you worried about just spending the money, or are you worried about you're spending the money and you're not going to get a return on investment? What is peace of mind worth to you? You're already stressed, angry, freaking out, overwhelmed, or whatever in your business. At least we were, and now she's asking for money? What? Wait a minute, But in the end, well, not the end, but in the process, I had to decide, okay, this person knows and understands how I'm feeling, what I want to accomplish, and they have the tools to help me get there. So what is that worth to you? Because in the end,
Hear this.
Well,
keep going.
Because in the end, that amount of money that you spend, everything else is going to far outweigh that. And the first time I think I realized that in this business was when we had our first month and we could pay you out of our business and not have to put it on a credit card. That was huge.
I remember that message.
That was huge because I was like, oh my God, we made enough money to not only pay you, put money in our account, pay our bills without my income, without my job from Children's Mercy, without my dance stuff, without anything. We made enough money that we could cover those things. And that was huge. So for me, yeah, it was worth it. 1,000%. Because it was worth the peace of mind. So what's next
for you?
Well,
what's the goal? What are we working towards right now?
I think the goal for us is to get to a place of consistently making 30K months in revenue. The short-term goal would be to do this 6 months in a row, then a year in a row or more, to at least make that minimum, to where I could focus more on this business than actually working at Children's Mercy, which, don't get me wrong, love Children's Mercy. It's been amazing. I have an amazing career, no shade to them whatsoever, but having the option of how much I want to work there and how much I want to work on this is the ultimate goal for me. That's the ultimate goal for me. I can't speak for Bill, but I think Bill's in a pretty happy place right now because he is doing what he loves. And because I was able to, not that I'm taking full credit for this, I'm not, but because I was able to kind of step in and literally strong arm him into getting help with this whole business, he gets to do what he loves because he's happy most of the time, you know, and
I
we
think
deal
the
with.
keyword here is choice,
Yeah.
right? Like, because when we first spoke, there was no ability to choose. And the belief at that time, you know, your job was the thing that was kind of keeping the ship afloat in your life, never mind just that business. And so I think that's kind of the key word now, is that to get you guys to the point at which you have the choice, because this business is affording you that choice. And I think that ultimately that's what we all just really want from our businesses. You know, that's how I just wanted the control of my time, to choose what I did with my time. Didn't want anyone else to tell me what I could or couldn't do, or how much I could or couldn't make. And that's why I opened a business at 20. So I love that for you. You guys are trending in like the complete right direction. And we're just stacking wins after stacking wins. And yeah, I'm just like, oh, I'm just like such a little proud. I'm just sitting here all proud. I'm like the little cry eyes emoji over here.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, we couldn't have done this without you, to be honest. I'm so glad we took that leap of faith, as scary as it was. And, you know, I'm pretty sure if Bill was standing here, he's on a job. He's doing a kitchen right now. I'm pretty sure if he was standing here, he would echo everything I'm saying. Yeah, I mean,
did all the hard work.
We're willing to put the work in, and that, I think that was something that you know, if you go into this, if you decide you want to get a mentorship with you or whomever, know that you have to put the work in. It doesn't just happen just because you wrote a check. Because not gonna lie, I put in a lot of work and even still feel behind on a lot of things, but I put in work like while I'm at work. You know, if I have an extra 10, 15, 20 minutes, I'm writing a post. I'm listening to part of a podcast. I'm listening to some of the training stuff. I'm reviewing, like, every chance I get, because I don't have huge blocks of time between Children's Mercy, between teaching dance, between being a mom, between being a spouse, and also this business. I don't have huge chunks of time to write a week's worth of things. So I do it literally 5 and 10 and 15 minutes at a time every day, but
just
consistently.
Learning how to be more efficient and more effective with what it is you're doing in there. Your story is incredibly inspiring. I think there are a lot of other small business owners, home reno, doesn't necessarily need to be home reno businesses, but just there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there walking in the same shoes that you did 6-7 months ago. So to be able to see that it doesn't take a lot, it takes a commitment, it takes the belief, you know, and most importantly, the bet on yourself, I think is kind of the message that I've gotten through everything that you've just said. So, you know, super thanks for sitting in here and sharing your story with me and the whole world. The podcast we've been talking about for 3 months. All right. Thanks, Kim. I super appreciate your time, and I can't wait to share your story with the world.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you.